Welcome to Chapters, everyone. Thank you all for joining in on this discussion of picking up the pieces to 100 Broken Promises. I am Yushima Cherry Burks, your host and the author of Picking Up the Pieces to 100 Broken Promises. Every Sunday for 9 weeks, we will be discussing one chapter from my book. Okay, panel, introduce yourselves and tell us what you do. Let's start with Denise.
Hey everyone, I'm Denise. I am a pastor. I am a Master's of Divinity pastor. I am also a clinically trained chaplain. I'm a healthcare chaplain also, and I get some counseling in there on the side. I'm a grandma and a mama too.
Amen. Yeah. And you are a sake and sorrel master. Absolutely. She makes the best Jamaican food, and I have not had it like she has since she's left me.
Yes.
Welcome, Denise. Thank you. Thank you for being here today. And Chanel.
Sure. Hi. Thanks again for having me, Yushima, and it's nice to meet you. I'm Chanel. I'm a writer and author. I do playwright. I'm writing some books. I'm so excited about 2021.
Yes.
I'm excited about Unplug, which is my blog. And I'm here just as a creative thing, but I just love this book, Picking Up the Pieces. It's really been helping me tap into some emotions lately, good, and processing some bad emotions that I have. So it's a good thing. It's a healing process. So I'm so excited about this book and going on this journey with you ladies.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Chanel. And I'm glad that I'm a small part in your healing journey. I'm so glad to be here with you. Now, is it called Unplugged or Unmute?
It's unmute, and it's definitely unmute. Thank you.
Okay. Thought you changed the name. I was like,
who? Unplugged this morning. Yes, it's definitely unmute.
Okay. Just wanted to clarify. Thank you. All right. Without further ado, ladies, let's get started. Today we are discussing Chapter 9, perfectly named Losses and Gains. The titles in Chapter 9 include Dream Job in Florida, Quan's Tripping About Money, Pressure Over Peace, Peace Over Pressure, Perks, and then there's the epilogue. Yes, this is the final chapter in this series of chapters. So let's get to it. Chapter 9 opens with an opportunity that I had been given to work in Florida, doing training and traveling all over the world like I used to do in Milwaukee, Wisconsin before I moved here to Madison, Alabama. I was ecstatic. I talked to Quan about it in depth. He told me to go for it, and so I did. I was offered the job with moving expenses, and at the last minute, he changed his mind, so I had to recant my acceptance. I was livid. I was hurt and confused. I didn't understand why he just didn't say no in the beginning in the first place. And I would have just turned down the proposition instead of going there and doing the interview and having them waste money and time. So I was just very disappointed. But he didn't say no in the beginning. He said yes, and later he said no. So it didn't work out the way that I wanted it to. Anyway, fast forward to today. With COVID-19 and traveling restrictions, as well as the threat of being on an airplane several days a week with the possibility of getting sick and getting my family sick, I appreciate the word no in this instance. I want you to check out my blog entitled The Power of No. I'll place the link below. Anyway, I would have been away from my children, my husband, and it would have been a lot of wear and tear on me. So with me not being in my 20s anymore, I believe taking that position probably would have done more damage than good for me. And I didn't mind traveling then all over the place, but now I appreciate the roots that I have in Alabama. I love my job now. I have businesses that I'm running. I'm excited. I'm a published author now, and I probably wouldn't have finished my book or opened businesses or done any of the things I'm doing now had I moved to Florida, because I would have been so focused on building their company, their dreams, and getting their things set up, right? So I believe in the end, it all worked out. So, ladies, I would like to ask you, when has a no that seemed so devastating in the beginning became a blessing for you?
It's been a few times over my life when that has happened, but I also had a wanting to go to Florida experience when I finished my educational part, and I just knew in my mind, I already pictured it. I even had my my weekend bag already packed with overnight clothes that if I'm coming from work in
Yes.
Florida and things were crazy for the week and I wasn't going home, I was just going to stop at a hotel near
Yes.
the beach, and I just was going to stay the weekend and go to work on Monday. And I blitzed Florida with prayer and application. Nothing happened.
Wow.
So that was a God no.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hurt my heart, hurt my feelings. I don't know what to do after that. I just went into a little funk, like a little short space funk, and I kept praying and kept saying to the Lord, what am I supposed to do? I can't remember why, but I decided to apply in Texas. Actually, I applied in Alabama, applied in Tennessee, Georgia. No. God was like, no. And I applied in Texas. Two people picked up my application and both of them wanted me. Both of them. They recruited me. And the one hospital, it was a Catholic hospital, and I was like, Lord, if you don't want me in this facility, let me know, just close the door.
Mm-hmm.
That was another no. And I mean, the director, the ED doctor, they were just like, come on, and it was for some reason, no. It just, after the last board of 4 women, one woman just was harping
Mm-hmm.
on something that I could get within 2 years of working there, my board certification as a clinical chaplain. And she just kept harping on the fact that I didn't have it. But whatever reason, God said no.
Mm-hmm.
The second one, they interviewed me over the phone, then they interviewed me over Skype, and then they had a panel, and everybody was just like, come on, gushing.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody looked like me,
Right.
and they
Mm-hmm.
were just gushing and everything. I have to honestly say that it was a blessing.
Good.
It was a straight blessing. So I said to the Lord, I said, Lord, it's Texas. And you said yes, in Florida, and you said no.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's going to be Jamaican food, Jamaican types of food. I was just going to have access to whatever.
Right.
But you said no and said yes to Texas. And I was praying, I was a hospice chaplain at the time, and I got when I got there, I kept saying to the Lord, when I see all these lonely country roads and long stretches of road with no one else on it, and I was like praying, I'm like, Lord, do I need to get a gun? I was dead serious.
You told me yes, I have one, but go ahead.
I was nervous because that stuff makes me nervous. And I just kept praying. And I remember the interim, he's a bereavement coordinator, but he was acting chaplain until they hired somebody. And when he took me to the first place to meet my first patient, she was a little old lady in her 90s, 98 to be exact. And she was sitting in her house. Her daughter opened the door, and her daughter was really warm right at the instant. And as he was introducing me to the daughter, this lady gets up with her little weak self. She was the one on hospice. And she walks this longest cord I've ever seen attached to an air tank, walked it down the hallway. She came to the door. She did not say hello to the acting that they knew very well. She didn't say hello to. She came to the door. She loops her arm through my arm, takes me into her home and says, welcome, my sister, my father's child. That's what she said. Yeah. That's what
I have goosebumps.
Yeah.
What?
And the prayer was, Lord, I don't know what this is, but I need to, I believe that you brought me here because of everything else that I know, but I need you to protect me. This is not country where you see me regularly. I'm usually the only one.
Right.
And that was the first greeting. And she took me in. I'm there to care for her. And she prayed the blood of the Lamb protection over me like somebody told her to. Like
What?
somebody told her to. And she prayed over me, prayed over the ministry, prayed for my protection, and just kept telling me I love my, and even on her deathbed, I was praying for her. She took my hand in laying there, taking her last few breaths, praying for me, and then tells me she will see me when we meet our Father together. And she said, and I said, I'll see you in the morning. And her daughter and her son-in-law is very quiet, unassuming doctors. They just started bawling, and the bereavement coordinator that was acting, he's like, I'm jealous. I don't know what this is. And her daughter says, I've never seen my mom like this. So I knew that was a God moment when he said no to everything that I wanted. And I have to say that in spite of all that we see going across the nation, every home that I went into, sometimes I'm 3 hours on the road by myself. God protected me. I go to a home where it says Bubba. And when I get there, he's more worried about me and then himself that's dying, and his wife was warm, and he used to barbecue and compete and wanted to pack me up with all the barbecue sauce he could find. With a name like Bubba, I started turning around actually. And I said, so God has shown me I've had good experiences here. So I don't know what the rest of it is about, but I'm meeting a lot of people that I do plan, and I think I mentioned this, to introduce your book to them, because I meet a lot of sexual trauma, a lot. And so that's, so I don't know what God is doing, but I think something is unfolding, and we'll see where it goes. So pray for me.
Absolutely. Yeah. Wow, that was awesome. And he will absolutely use everybody around us to make sure that we know this is him. That's an amazing story. Thanks for sharing, Denny. Thank you so much. Chanel.
Oh, girl, it's been so many times because I'm just one of those wayward children sometimes. But just thinking, the last time that we spoke on the episode, previous one, I was talking about my daughter, and I decided today, it's a good day. I'm not going to be emotional, but I just want to talk about just a no. My daughter had 2 anoxic brain injuries 6 years back. The first anoxic brain injury she did very well with. She was continuing to be able to talk, to walk, to do all those things that your child typically does. But the second one that happened on 3 days after, she just wasn't able to do anything after that. She became a total care kiddo. And I have been praying, having my church family pray, people all over the nation, across the world, people were just praying for my daughter, praying for her to be healed. I had every belief that she was going to walk out of the hospital, despite what everyone else was telling me, despite what the records and things that they were showing me with MRIs, all these different things. I just knew that God was going to show up and manifest himself. And it was very difficult when I got to know that when we were going to leave the hospital, we were going to leave with her in a wheelchair. Tanaya, they said that she wasn't going to be able to do anything. She had just turned 11 at the time. And it was hard to adjust to all the milestones and things that you expect your child to make, knowing that she wasn't going to make them. But the prognosis was so bleak, they didn't expect her to do anything. They said that she would just lay there. She wouldn't be able to respond, do any type of things. If she did it, it would be a baser instinct. She wouldn't be able to control it. When I say that God just really showed up and showed out, the first, I'm gonna say 7, 8 months, she did nothing. She just was like there like Sleeping Beauty. Then she began to open up her eyes, and then she began to engage with us she couldn't speak, but she had this thing where she would play. If you talk too much, she'd close her eyes and pretend like she was asleep. It's really wasn't sleeping. She just wanted you to be quiet, smiling. She started laughing. You couldn't hear her laughing, but you could tell she was laughing, followed conversations well. And we knew even before the doctors were willing to admit that, yes, she could understand. She understood her name. She understood what was going on to participate. Got to a point where she was able to raise her hand or move her leg, on command. That's what they care about in medical field. Everything is very exact in science. I thank God for the no, because it taught me so much about her and her how beautiful she is, and just how the strength that she possessed, and she was just really an inspiration. So although I lost her this year, I'm so thankful for everything that I gained from her, from just family relationships. All those things were just impacted just by her strength. She led a beautiful life, and those are things that I would not have gotten if God would have just raised her up off of her bed and we would just went on as if quote unquote normal. But it was a beautiful now. So I gained so much, I learned so much, and she impacted us in a way that would not have been able to be possible if he would have said yes.
Mm. Thank you for sharing, Mercy. I'm gonna tell you, she was absolutely blessed to have you as her mom, and as all of your children are blessed to have you as a mom. You're so loving and caring, and the way that the term that you love to use, and I've stolen it, the way that you stretch yourself for others in those times when things get difficult is such an inspiration for everybody around you. And I just commend you for being who you are. And thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you, Chanel. All right, so chapter 9 is appropriately entitled Losses and Gains. It sums up our lives perfectly. I personally had to make decisions, and those decisions equated to losses and gains. In order for me to gain my peace of mind, my safety, heal my marriage, and grow from my trauma, I had to let go of fear, unforgiveness, pain, negative thoughts, ideologies, low self esteem, trauma, and narratives that did not fit my goals. I also had to let go of people that I care about very much, who meant a lot to me, but who were toxic and who did not fit well into my journey for healing. This process of healing is painful and it's daunting and it's long and it's not pretty. So, ladies, I want to ask you today, what are you hanging on to today that could possibly be hindering you from accomplishing your goal?
This may sound, I'm sorry. This may sound selfish. And while I love them, I give everybody else their opportunity to advance. I put myself off and take care of everybody and all their issues and all their needs so that they can advance my family. But when it comes to me taking care of what I need to advance me and reach the goals that I have in mind, I don't do it well. And I need to just kind of allow them, they're adults, to mold their own path to with God, and to just kind of do their own and just continue to be attentive to what mine is and to do it. But sometimes it's very hard to do that, because if I see that there's a need for help or whatever and I don't do it, I'm almost having guilt for not doing that, but then it puts me off and has placed me in a cycle of the cyclical stop and start, stop and start, stop and start, and not fully being intentional and focused and working out what I need to do to see the things that I have in mind that I would like to accomplish before, quote unquote, I leave the earth. So some of that is like, while I do love them, I think I have to kind of try to start doing the back burner with the family stuff, because they can take care of themselves.
Absolutely. And I believe that God gives us all what we need in order for us to be successful. He loves our children more than we could ever love them, right? So if we believe that, for our adult children especially, right? If we believe that, we have to trust that He's got them and He'll impress us when we need to show up. But I think if we keep showing up, I think it in some ways enables them to not try as hard. You know what I mean? Because they know, my mom's got this or my dad's got this. Mm-hmm. I was like that when my dad was alive. I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I knew that no matter what, he always had my back. So in some areas of my life, I was lacking. I may not have prayed as hard because he had the prayers taken care of. I was good. You know what I'm saying? So it was just certain aspects of my life that I just didn't push that hard because I knew that he had me. But now that he's gone, I had to pick up those pieces. You know what I mean? And I believe the type of mom that you are, how you always ingrained work ethic and kindness and love and support to them, I believe that they have learned those things. And if you pull back a little bit, all it's going to do is help them to blossom. So it's
I
not
agree.
selfish. I think it's self-care. I don't think it's selfish, but thanks for sharing. Thank you. Yeah. Chanel.
I would have to agree with that because that's not selfish. I think as mothers, we think it's selfish when we want to do something for ourselves because we're so used to being nurturing and giving. I just want to second on Yushima's comments about that. You should take care of yourself. The children want you around for a while, so you gotta take care of you too.
Mhm.
But for mine, just you know what, reading this book, it's really been transformative to me because just although I've known you, since forever, it was the intimate details and things because every time I see you, you just present so strong and you do wear everything and you can't really tell if things are going on because you're constantly jokey or, making fun and different things like that. So it allowed me to see certain sides and aspects of you that I would not have been able to see. And then just even dealing with us doing the discussions, just opening up certain things that I've been carrying. And I think what hinders me is I quote unquote present well, that strong Black woman persona, but I pack everything up into a box and I don't deal with things. And so it it helps, it's like a shield, if you will, but it's not healthy because it doesn't allow you to process your feelings or your emotions, things that are very real and things that you need to deal with in life. And so I'm very thankful to have been on this journey because it's helped me to see that there are things that are broken pieces in myself that I need to pick up, things that I need to unpack. So I'm just thankful for the process. And I know that's something I have to do going forward in 2021.
Hmm. Thank you for that. I had some reservations about exposing all of the business, but I'm so grateful that it has touched, lives of people that I love and care about, like you two, and even people that I haven't met that I've had an opportunity to either speak to or I received emails from, and see the impact that it's had on their life from me telling my story. So although some of these pieces of me, they don't present me well, right? I'm just so grateful that God can use even the ugly parts to help somebody else. So I'm really thankful for that. So thank you. And so, Denny, what was in this book that shocked you since you've known and you've been here through this, a lot of this part of the journey with Mikey, and you knew about the Florida thing and a lot of those things that were happening in my life. Now, was there anything in the book that shocked you that you weren't aware of before?
Oh, I'm sorry. The I knew, but for some reason it shocked me what happened to you and how you just got up and went on.
Mm.
You know, I don't know what that feels like, but I know that, and I'm talking about it now, and I get all teared up.
Mm.
But when I read it, I was like, how can somebody go through that? And when I met you, you were so bubbly and just always laughing and
Mm.
joking, and I know you told me, but when I read it, I was like, oh my God, next to your baby and
Mm.
just the trauma of it and knowing some of the back pieces and what your mom did or whatever. And I was just like, oh my God, you know, she faced that, like literally. Like, I mean, I talk to people who I counsel or whatever and journey with, but like knowing you and seeing you go through that, I was like, hearing that you went through that and then reading it, and it's like the rest of the story kind of just, I was shocked. I was like, she got up and she just moved on like nothing happened. How did she do that? But you were so bubbly when I met you that I would have never known.
Yeah.
I would have never known. So yeah, that was a hard piece for me. It still is. I'm like all teared up.
Oh,
So,
I'm
yeah,
sorry, but thank you for that.
that's okay.
That
Yeah.
is the I guess I could say that's a side effect or a consequence of growing up in an abusive home. You have to put on that face because nobody can know. You know what I mean? Nobody can ever know those secret pieces of you because, by God, if they found out who I really was or what
But the
really happened, what would
and in
happen?
the black community too, we don't talk about it because I meet so many people. Just it's not something that's addressed, and that's why I think your book is just an amazing time and place moment, in time because I introduced it to those who I met. I met one young lady. She went to her family, and these were family to her,
Mhm.
and one of them harmed her, and she was just like, it was just, she's one. I don't think that she's ready to come on yet, but I'm trying to get her to read the book.
Mhm.
And so I just think it's going to do work, even over time, because I plan to introduce it to people too. But, as I meet them, but I meet quite a few homeless women,
Yeah.
Black women, and our community, that's not something that's discussed. The more, even like when I worked at the VA, the Caucasian women will talk about it, Black women won't talk about it. So I think it took a
Mhm.
lot of courage to put all of it out there, and I appreciate that. And I know that God has given you more strength, you know.
Mm. Thank you. He absolutely has. It has been a learning process for me to expose. I feel exposed, I guess you could say. Completely. I feel completely exposed, but I thank God that He was able to bring me through it. And I hope that it continues to touch people. And the reason why Black women don't talk about it because we've been trained in guilt and shame. And who cares? Right? Who cares? We get the attitude of who cares, or it was your fault. What did you do? What did you wear? What were you wearing? Why would you go over there? You know what I mean? It's always our responsibility to accept and absorb even the trauma that happens to us. So why even talk about it and be re-traumatized again if you don't have that support system? As you saw, several examples in my book when I reached out for help, it wasn't given. And I'm sure, you both have received those same situations where you were trying to get help for yourself or your loved one or even someone that you were trying to help in your career. So yeah, thank you, ladies. So this is the last little bits for chapter 9 that we're going to discuss today. Although my story was traumatic, right? Um, my story hasn't ended yet, and my book ended on a high note. I've learned a lot about myself and those around me. My husband and I are happier than we've ever been. I shed 100 pounds. Mikey is in a facility and we talk often and see each other whenever it's possible. Quan is healing and thriving. Jack is a happy, healthy, normal little bundle of black boy joy who has friends running in and out of my house constantly, all day, every day, but I love it. I've been stretched in ways that prepared me for what God has for me. I've taken responsibility for my own healing, which has empowered me to take control of my life again. I found peace and happiness and joy and love. I've released my expectations of wanting others to fix me or apologize for what they've done to me. I've gotten in touch with that little girl inside of me, and we've been doing all of the things that she wants to do, including wearing tutus and watching cartoons while eating cereal on the couch, laughing out loud and being sad when she needs to be sad. We are all healing and we are becoming. This year, we've all lost some. Some of us lost more than others. We've also gained. We've cried. We've laughed. What have you learned about yourself in 2020? We can start with Danny and then Chanel. What have you learned about yourself?
I learned, I knew I was resilient, and people would always say that to me, you're so strong.
Mhm.
And it used to anger me because I'm like, that doesn't mean I don't have needs. And so oftentimes, because people deem you as strong, they have a tendency to ignore that you have hurt and pain and needs. But when the COVID situation hit, um, and I had to be at the hospital often, and then I had my own family that I didn't want to bring stuff home to. For whatever reason, to date, I'm not afraid by any means. I am not afraid. I didn't find fear. That resilience and that strength just, and the what God empowers just came forefront. And I go in there fearless, cautious, take precautions, do what I need to do,
Right.
but not afraid. And I think I've learned finally to accept, even though I still think I need to have community and still need to have people to blow the breeze with, and people that I can be very transparent with, because when you're in the ministry, people think all of a sudden you've attained and you're no longer human with needs, So, and that's why I have such a small circle of authentic people. I learned that God has given me the ability to cope, that I cope well. I think I finally embraced that, that doesn't mean life is perfect. It doesn't mean I don't have issues, but it means that COVID situation showed me that I can cope well, and that you're so strong finally became something that I've accepted and embraced without getting upset when people say it, but reminding myself and be intentional with myself that I still need self-care. I still need to address the things that need addressing. And if I can't find the community that I need to do that because they think I'm so strong, I will seek out where I can find a community that embrace the part of me that needs that help.
Absolutely. Yes. Oh, thank you for sharing. It's so important that you find your people, right?
Yes.
Once you find your people, it just empowers you and inspires you to continue to keep going, even when you want to give up, or just to find your people that can just sit with you in that moment, whatever that is, be it joy, hardship, whatever it is, you need to find your people. So I'm so glad that both of you are a part of my people. And I know I could call on you at any time. And I hope that I am also a listening ear and a shoulder for you all the way that you are for me. So thank you, Denny. Chanel.
2020 has taught me a lot. It's taught me that hard or difficult endings can present beautiful beginnings. It's taught me that sometimes it's okay to lay down my cape. I think as Black women, we got that Wonder Woman thing down pat, and being and save this person, and self-care is so necessary, so I've learned to be vulnerable and be okay and having a little bit of vulnerability, not feeling as if I have to be strong for everyone and present well. um, I've learned that, sometimes it's just processing things. I've learned to also value time because time is such a precious commodity. I think sometimes we get so focused on materialistic things and money, but you can replace money. Your experiences with yourself and with others is, there's no limit, no dollar sign that you can put on that. And so I've learned to appreciate time in a way that's different than ever before. And I've also learned accountability for myself. I have dreams, I have goals, I have aspirations, but what's stopping me is me. No one else can stop or prevent what I want to accomplish but me. So I'm responsible for those things and setting those things in motion. So I've learned a lot about relationships and people around me, people who have been there to support me and love on me, especially when you need that extra, that extra from everybody else. And so, and I just agree again with what Denny was saying about finding your tribe. It really is important because it takes a village, not just to raise a child, but just to nurture an adult, a child that's inside of you with that little person. So, um, when I was younger, I used to believe so much. I wanted to accomplish so much, and I quiet that voice down because of reality and what other people's opinions might be, and what society says you're supposed to do at this point and that point. But I've learned to love that little girl that's in me and nourish her and cherish her and allow her to do all the wonderful things that she wants to do. And I'm just now focused on believing that I can do whatever it is that I want to do.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Yes, 100%. We have to nurture and heal that little girl inside of us. And that's a perfect segue to introduce our new project called T-Shirts and Tutus. which will be focusing on healing our inner children, our inner child, right? And allowing us the freedoms to do all of the things that we wanted to do as children and to just encourage each other and inspire each other. So thank you so much, Chanel. Thank you so much, Denny, for being here today. I would like to take this time to just thank our panelists, present company, and those who aren't here included. Thank you all for participating in this discussion today, and thank you all for watching. Remember to check out my store, yearofyushima.net, where you will find the book collection. This is part of it, right? Black Girl Healing. We also have other teas.
Yay, I love it.
One. What do you guys think? What do you think this is?
Get that one. I have to. That one in the Black Girl Healing.
Yes, Mom Healing Child.
Yes.
And picking up the pieces from my book. And these are just a couple of pieces that you will find on the website. So check it out. All of my pieces are inspired to heal, to help you, to remind you that there is something greater than what we can ever imagine and what God has in store for us. So every single piece is inspired by a title or a story in my book or something that inspired me in my personal life. Check it out today. I'm sure you'll find something there for yourself or someone that you love. Also, remember to check out the products and the services from our panelists today. The links will be below. I want you to have a great day. Until next time, be bold, make a statement, and be empowered. Thank you.